What's going on, wrestling family? Welcome back to the channel. So we're going to react to the most bizarre wrestling matches of all time. So if you've lived through the Attitude Era under Vince McMahon's regime, we've seen some matches that were crazy that should not have been on TV. And if you're like myself, who like to go to independent shows, I'm sure at one point in time or another, you've seen a match. You're like, bro, I know I am not watching what I'm watching right now. Nothing illegal, but some stuff that was really, really crazy. Now, before we get started, guys, do me a favor. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Let's get into the video.
You've seen wrestlers fight other wrestlers, but have you seen a wrestler fight a bear? Throughout the 20th century, many wrestlers would face off against real, live bears. How did any of them survive? Well, the bears usually had a muzzle on and were declawed. Despite those limitations though, the bears were still actually pretty good wrestlers.
Today.
Watch. See the head
We get it with a snap
Being that
bear.
they were bears, they wouldn't always cooperate and would sometimes attack the referee. By the mid-80s, most wrestling companies stopped having bears on their roster, and nowadays, bear wrestling has become completely non-existent. However, bears are not the only animals to step inside the squared circle. The longest reigning...
Bro, listen. I don't care if they have a muzzle on or they're declawed. I am not going to watch a person wrestle a bear, or am I going to get in the ring with Kuma? Because imagine if a person has a bad day and sleepy and accidentally doesn't tighten up that muzzle as much as they supposed to. If that mug falls off, you are a picnic basket to Yogi Bear, bro. I don't want to take that risk. I don't.
WWE champion Bruno Sammartino once wrestled against an orangutan for 15 minutes before having to tap out. In the mid-1900s, a wrestler named Tough Truesdale made a name for himself by wrestling alligators. But the craziest of them all is when Canadian wrestling legend Stu Hart competed against a live tiger. It's not known who won the match, but my money is on the cat. Japan has also done some insane matches involving animals. One of them was the Piranha Death Match. A tank filled with live piranhas sat in the middle of the ring, and the goal was to put your opponent inside the tank. Just to remind you, piranhas can bite through steel. So how did this match end? Well, here's how.
What is going on, man? Oh. That's attempted murder right there. That is crazy.
He surprisingly left the ring in one piece. And if you thought this was the only crazy wrestling match you would see in Japan, think again.
Okay. Before we move on, it sounds crazy. I know I'm gonna sound crazy. Out of what we just heard so far, this match will be the one I'm least afraid of, because when it comes to piranhas, if you know anything about piranhas, they usually don't attack large mammals. They don't attack people, okay? The only time they would even attack anything is if it's a carcass, they'll eat something dead, or if something agitates it enough and they're starved for a long time, then maybe they'll try to attack a human, but even at that point, they'll take little nips here and there. They won't try to do like you see in a movie where they put a whole person in a piranha tank and they just eat them up and leave the bones in there clean. Like, this is not Mortal Kombat. That's not how it works, okay? But it's still a crazy match to try to be in, man. It's you gotta be bored, bro. You gotta be bored.
If piranhas weren't dangerous enough, there was also a scorpion death match. Literally, the first person to put their opponent in a tank filled with scorpions for
okay, I can't say the same for scorpions, bro. This is crazy.
10 seconds, won. And if that didn't seem painful enough, there was also cacti in the ring that could be used as a weapon.
Oh!
If you still don't think it could get any crazier than this, think again. I'm guessing you're familiar with Jake the Snake Roberts. He would come out to the ring with his python Damien and use it to terrify his opponents. However, I'm guessing you're less familiar with Sean Venom. This guy also had a snake accompanying him to the ring, but he took things one step further. When the snake wasn't hanging around Venom's neck, the reptile was kept in a box. This created the Snake Box match, where the goal, as you can guess, was to put your opponent in a box with a snake. I'm guessing PETA didn't sign off on this. In 2007, it was revealed that Hornswoggle was Vince McMahon's illegitimate son. McMahon became protective of his newfound child, so to prepare Swoggle for the Royal Rumble, McMahon set up a mini Rumble match. What we didn't realize was how literal it was going to be. All of the competitors were mini versions of WWE wrestlers. This included a mini Batista, mini Mr. Kennedy, mini Kane, and even a mini Mankind. The match featured several funny moments, like Mini Kennedy not being able to reach the microphone, and mini Batista hitting a mini Batista bomb. The fun ended though once the Great Khali entered, and unfortunately, he wasn't mini. However, Finlay made the save, and Hornswoggle was the one who had his hand raised at the end. In the 90s, WCW would host a yearly pay-per-view called World War III. The main event was always the titular World War III match that featured a whopping 60-man battle royal.
What?
In order to fit everyone, the match had to be split up between 3 rings,
Oh my
each
God.
containing 20 wrestlers. Once the match was down to the final 30, the remaining competitors would all merge into one ring. That's crazy, but it's not nearly as insane as this next match.
I don't
In 2000
remember this match. I don't. It sounds fun, but it sounds very. it sounds very like, oh, it makes people overstimulated probably from watching this match. But I got to go back and watch it.
2019, Game Changer Wrestling presented a match featuring 2 of John Cena's relatives, Invisible Stan and Invisible
yeah,
Man.
really quick, guys. I'm sorry for stopping. I love this match so much because the referee does not get as much credit as he deserved for doing this, because if he didn't participate in this properly, if his acting wasn't God tier, then it can ruin the entire match. You guys are going to see what they're talking about, but he deserves a lot of credit. He really does. And the cameraman. The cameraman really helped out in this. I love this, man. This is so goofy.
While us mortals weren't able to see the action, the referee thankfully came prepared with bad boy vision goggles. Stan and Man started the match with a technical showcase and traded pinfall attempts, but neither one could get the 3. The match then went to the floor
ref is
and
amazing.
spilled out through the crowd. The battle of the invisible wrestlers got out of control, so additional referees and backstage officials came out. However, it was not enough to contain Invisible Stan and Invisible Man.
Don't do it! Don't do it! No! Oh! Fuck! Oh, the balcony! Dangerous!
I love it, man. I love
About a
it.
30-foot fall!
This is so goofy.
The
I love
match
it.
then returned to the ring, but it somehow got even more intense.
Oh! Through the table!
How did they pull his hat off?
2 and 3! He got him!
Now, in case you left your goggles at home, the ring announcer was kind enough to tell us who won.
Winner of the match is the Invisible Man!
Seeing a wrestler go through a small pile of thumbtacks looks extremely painful.
Yeah.
Now imagine going through 50,000 of them.
Bro, I didn't know this
The
was Why
company
Not the
Beyond
Wins video.
Wrestling hosted a 50,000 thumbtack match. Oh, and don't worry, both wrestlers fell on them a lot.
Why do y'all do this, man? Why?
The only thing more strange than seeing that many thumbtacks in the ring was the fact that Ash Ketchum from Pokemon
What the
was the
heck?
referee. Wrestlers come in all shapes and sizes. We've seen giants and men tougher than steel. Heck, we've seen grandpas wrestle. However, I doubt you've seen this. In 2011, Kenny Omega traveled to Japan to take on the opponent of a lifetime, a 9-year-old girl.
Oh, yeah, I saw
Don't let her
this.
size fool you. She packs a punch. Even though his opponent was a child, Kenny Omega did not hold anything back.
Yeah.
Equal rights, equal fights, I guess. Luckily for the girl, she was saved by the bell when the time limit of the match was reached. As bizarre as this might be, this is only like the 6th strangest thing to come out of Japanese wrestling. In addition to everything else we've seen, Japan has also blown up the ring with the wrestlers inside it.
What the? Is this
In
Mr.
Japan,
Beast
a
wrestling?
unique match stipulation exists called the Exploding Barbed Wire Death Match. First,
yeah.
instead of regular wrestling ring ropes, the ropes are replaced with barbed wire. Because that clearly isn't dangerous enough, the ropes also explode when hit. Besides those small differences, the match is won just like usual by either pinning or submitting your opponent. But while the match is going on, there's a timer, and once it counts down, well, you know what happens. Once COVID struck the world and everyone had to socially distance, it made wrestling basically impossible. However, Game Changer Wrestling found a creative way around that. The company held the first ever social distancing rules match. Both wrestlers had to stay 6 feet apart from each other at all times. What's most shocking though is that it actually worked.
Big
big rear back. Oh, big punch.
The referee even came prepared with hand sanitizer to ensure a 99.9% germ-free match. But the best part came at the end.
What is Janela doing? Oh, tackle! Oh, through the door!
This next match gives a whole
Where's
new
Joey
meaning
Janela
to the
from?
phrase high risk. In an effort to create a spectacle, several wrestling companies held scaffolding matches. As you would assume, these matches had a scaffolding structure set up either above the ring or nearby, with the goal being to throw your opponent off it. With a match like this, it's not surprising that several wrestlers have gotten seriously injured. Wrestling manager Jim Cornette infamously broke a leg during one such match in 1986. Years later, in ECW, New Jack fought Vic Grimes in a scaffolding match. However, due to a miscommunication, Grimes landed on New Jack's head, which caused brain damage and made Jack permanently blind in his right eye. After 6 months of recovery, New Jack and Vic Grimes fought again in another scaffolding match. If you're surprised that New Jack agreed to compete in this type of match again, then you've never met New Jack. Once the two
Yeah, his story, bro. This had to have something to do with his mental state when he did the things that they say he has done. Anyway.
wrestlers got on top of the scaffolding, New Jack used a real taser to shock Vic Grimes. Jack then threw his opponent off the scaffolding with the intent of killing him. Despite New Jack's wishes, Vic Grimes did survive. Sometimes, it's not the wrestling matches themselves, but where they take place that's bizarre. For instance, Walmart hosted a wrestling show once.
What?
This looks like something...
Yo, why don't my Walmart do stuff like this? Why? Like, I think the most random place I've seen a wrestling match is I was at this event in Wisconsin. It was called Tacos and Tequila, and they would have people like, you know, like old school rappers. Like, they had Nelly there, they had the Yin Yang Twins there, they had Petey Pablo and all these other people. And then if you look behind you, they had a wrestling ring set up where there were luchadors doing matches. Everybody else was dancing to the music. I was focused on the luchadors. Like, that's how much a wrestling nerd I am, man. It was kind of embarrassing, but I loved it.
AI would create. Another one is this wrestling show that took place outside of a Golden Corral.
What?
I feel like I know exactly how everyone in this photo would talk. It's not just small companies that have done shows in unique locations either. The debut episode of WCW Nitro was broadcast from the largest shopping mall in the US, the Mall of America. Around that same time, WWE hosted an event inside a subway station in New York City. The wrestlers had walked down a flight of stairs to get into the ring, but the best moment was seeing The Undertaker hit a tombstone piledriver on an escalator.
They gotta bring this back. These random matches in random places,
That's
they gotta bring
impressive.
this back.
But have you ever seen a wrestling ring on water?
What?
Well, once again, Japan managed to do the impossible.
Of course.
The company,
It's always
FMW,
them.
actually put a wrestling ring in the middle of a pool. Wrestlers made their entrances on boats, and of course, someone got thrown into the water.
I know that
The
chlorine
truly
burned in the
amazing
eyes.
thing, though, is that instead of the ring exploding, the water exploded. Now, all of this has been strange, crazy, and bizarre, but this next clip is the most insane. During a tag team match in Combat Zone Wrestling, Osirian Portal was having some difficulty putting their opponents away. When their usual methods weren't working, they resorted to a different tactic.
As they were fitting all by himself. Ducks in the clothesline. Amasa's catching his spot. Mesmerizing.
He's using hypnosis!
Is that legal here?
This can't be legal in international rules! Look
But
at
it's working.
He's hypnotizing
You
the
gotta
entrance
love
way, too.
independent
Not
wrestling.
only did they hypnotize their opponents, but Assyrian Portal managed to hypnotize the entire locker room. The match turned into a full-on dance party, which Assyrian used to knock their opponents down and get the win. After winning the World Heavyweight Championship, Randy Orton celebrated by making the fans
Yo, that type of stuff can only happen in independent wrestling. All the people who complain about like stuff that don't really make sense sometimes in WWE, which they have a point. Imagine if this type of stuff happened. They will blow a head gasket. But anyway, this was an amazing list. Let me know in the comment section if there's some other match types you have heard of or seen that did not make this list. Let me know in the comment section. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Salute, peace, have a great day.